The nature of promises is that they remain immune to changing circumstances. Spoken by Frank Underwood of House of Cards, quite the nasty man on many accounts, and yet doesn't change the validity and the poignancy of that phrase. Nature of promises is that they remain immune to changing circumstances. Now, where does this hit you? Hi, Gemini seekers. Welcome. Knowledge doesn't really have any loyalties, right? It's not loyal to wrong versus right, good or bad, a political party, a creed, a status, a gender, a race, a religion. Knowledge is knowledge, you know. If someone says 1 + 1 = 2, it really doesn't matter if you like them or not, if you agree with them or not on other things. 1 + 1 = 2. So, given that knowledge has no loyalties and you are the sign of knowledge, and people wonder why our Geminis can be so unreliable. It's because you are reliable to how knowledge has no loyalties. It's a very ironic existence. On one hand, it shows loyalty to essence of what knowledge is and should be. On the other hand, it manifests at times, sometimes, as being unloyal. I'm going to help you here with something, although it's going to be very annoying to you. Because Geminis, you guys have some of the most challenging paths into your highest manifestation of your archetype of Gemini. Go from duality to unity consciousness, right? And you rule cognitive knowledge, right? The thought, the mind. Also the hands, but let's not go into that. So you're loyal now, yes, but since this, you've discovered XYZ information, which changes things. So now you can't be loyal to the thing that you were expected to be loyal to. And it makes absolute sense to you. And within the archetype that you're living in this life, it does make sense. Number of truths is the number of sets of eyes, and number of paths is the number of feet on the earth, right? So you have your own path and you have your own mind that is based in the Gemini archetype and essence. So what else can you do? Oh, sometimes the way forward feels like walking backwards. Sometimes when there's such a tall hill or deep valley between you and the point to which you want to get to, you have to do a reverse. And since everything is circular and the earth is round, walk enough and walk and walk and walk in reverse, and you'll get to the forward you were trying to get to. Why am I telling you this? If your goal is to reach the highest manifestation of your essence, your archetype, using knowledge for unity and for integration of paths, as opposed to fragmentation, which is ironically enough what most of you experience in this life. You gotta be counterintuitive. Because the truth is, Gemini, you're not just knowledge or just mind. You are many, 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 many other things in your chart. So, what can you do from here on that will help you get to that ascension through and out of your shadow aspects of Gemini? And every sign has a shadow aspect, and we all seek to ascend through and out. What you can do is this following exercise that I'm going to give you. It's one of my witchy, spiritual, esoteric exercises that I give that are very tailored, unique to every person, in this case, every sign. And the next time you encounter a situation where you're supposed to be loyal, it doesn't have to be romance, guys, gals, whatever. It can be anything. You said you'll show up at 2. Simple. But since then, you forgot, you realize that you have all of this and that to do for your job, and that is also very important. So when you said you'll show up at 2, you didn't know this, or your boss just gave you all this, right? You didn't know it, so you were planning to be loyal to show up at 2. So you meant it when you said it. It's not like you lied. But now things have changed. Well, true, and knowledge has no loyalty. Now you have newfound knowledge, so loyalties have changed, right? Wrong. The nature of promises is that they remain immune to changing circumstances. So the next time something like this happens, what you can do is tell your boss or yourself or whatever in this case, wow, you're right, I'm so sorry, but I forgot or I wasn't aware and I said to this person or to that thing that I'll show up at 2. And then you're going to show up at 2. Even though you'd rather not, and even though you'd rather finish up these things and then arrive at 3. And to you, it makes sense. What's the problem? It's just 3 instead of 2. But the other person has already made plans according to that too. And yes, maybe they can push, but then they push someone else. And I know I'm stating obviousness here. You're intelligent enough. However, you don't do it in reality still. I don't care what you tell me in front of the screen. There's at least one thing in your life, one area in your life, probably more, in which you change your promises or your declarations according to changing circumstances and newfound knowledge. And to you, it makes so much sense. You're not being disloyal, or you're not being unfaithful or unreliable. No, it's simple. How come you don't get it? Why don't you understand? I said I'll be there at 2 because I didn't know XYZ, but now I know XYZ, so I can't be there at 2. See, Gemini, every single other sign shows up at 2. Well, maybe Pisces, but comes from a different reason. Everyone else get it. Now, the reason I'm saying this to you, it's not to annoy you, it's not to bash you, it's to genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, help you. And help your environment that can really, really enjoy you, but you constantly put them in situations where they have to choose between enjoying you and having minimal self-esteem. And then when they choose minimal self-esteem over understanding you and your changing circumstances, you see them as traitors. Or you find some flaw in them to explain why they just don't get it. Or maybe they're just not as intelligent in you and they just don't understand the changing circumstances. They understand, Gemini. They just prioritize respect amongst human beings over airy knowledge that is here to serve us and is very, very important. Knowledge is important. Knowledge is very, very, very important. Information is very important. But in the grand scale of things, sometimes you need to choose people's hearts over the essence of knowledge. And that includes your own heart, because you deserve to not constantly be bashed by people you love about your character, about whether or not you show up. Now, side yet very important note, this is not about, big stuff. You made a promise to love and to cherish someone in marriage for the rest of your life, but the marriage are abusive and hellish or just bad and there's no love there. No, of course, those are very valid changing circumstances. Okay. But the thing is, many of you out there have not learned the difference between these essential things in which you have to choose your heart and your soul and your path by divorcing that really or separating from that really bad situation or leaving that terrible job and so on and so forth. You haven't learned how to separate between that reason to not show up to a promise versus other reasons that you more often use to not show up to promises. If you'll get upset with me and not watch me again and find ways to defame my character and explain why I'm saying all these annoying things to you, you'll continue doing this shit and good luck. But that's not what the existential shift is about. It's about an existential shift. When you saw the caption of my channel, what did you think that means? The existential shift. That shit is intense and demanding and often fun and exciting and interesting and relaxing, but sometimes excruciating. But if you choose to listen to the past 12 and a half minutes, 13 minutes, and try it in little things, super vigilant about it, you'll see how your entire auric field changes. I have the first card on the table. I'll look at it in a sec. The auric field changes, events starting to change, people start to respond to you differently, and before you know it, you find something very meaningful to you that will last for a very long time. Because maybe there is someone or something there for you that is perfect for you, but it vibrates on the frequency of the Knights of the Round Table, of honor, of promises, of your word being golden. And if you don't vibrate on that frequency, you can't meet them or you can't be with them or you can't, you know, get that project or that job or that huge opportunity that will require you to show up regardless of changing circumstances, but it will build you an empire or it will be the love of your life, whatever. Because Geminis, you can only be with the love of your life once you're on the path of integrated polarities within you. I know I just said a big thing, but it's true. So I think the last 14 minutes you just saw are more than gold for you. And I truly hope you'll choose to utilize it. And yes, there are many things in which you show up, but then I'm talking about the things in which you flake on. Every Gemini has a different field in which they are like that. And every Gemini has something in which they're super adamant and super loyal that they use as an excuse or an evasive tactic to be like, no, I am very loyal and reliable. Look at how I am in this. When I do stuff like that for the zodiac signs, that's based in so much love. I just want to clarify this. You have a challenging path, and I'm trying to help. Eight of Pentacles. Perfect. We just had a new moon in Virgo in square to Mars in your sign. And here you have a Virgo rising squaring the shit out of you, telling you it like it is, even though it's really uncomfortable. And you really want to tap into your shadow Gemini and puke all the shadowy Virgo experience that you've had in ways of, again, avoiding the truth. See, there's a difference between knowledge and truth. Because you can utilize knowledge to do anything. You can utilize knowledge to good, you can utilize knowledge to evil, you can utilize knowledge to light, you can utilize knowledge to dark. But truth, light truth, spears through all the things that you're telling yourself right now to avoid the somewhat really uncomfortable, painful boot camp almost like work that is ahead of you if you choose to take my advice. You will exercise it a lot and it will take time to see results. And you will see other people have fun and you can't because you promised to do that thing until tomorrow. And so you can't go out with your friends last minute, even though you used to do so and just be like, whatever the deadline I have for tomorrow or whatever. And now you can't do that if you choose to take the advice. Now you're gonna do this Eight of Pentacles. But you know what comes after the Eight of Pentacles? Nine of Pentacles and Ten of Pentacles. You can't go to the Nine and Ten of Pentacles without going through the Eight of Pentacles. It is crucial. The Eight of Pentacles, the rigorous, earthly work, leads to incredible amount of abundance and tranquility. And it's going to be worth it. But until then, it's going to be thorny. Ten of Swords. This is uncomfortable energy that you're going through now. There is a loss of some sort that I'm seeing here that you have endured or enduring. This is the beginning of the reading, so it's not to future reference. This is a reading for September, for example, right? So this is something that you're already either experiencing or have recently experienced and you're still feeling it, right? But it feels like you were on a lifeboat and then you were thrown out of the lifeboat. Or you threw someone out of the lifeboat. I'm not going to lie, it could be either way. Someone was thrown out of a lifeboat. And there was blood. And some promises are not immune to certain changing circumstances. So for those of you who've had incredible legitimate changing circumstances that had you not show up. Still a reading for you, but take the parts that are relevant. And don't you blame yourself for seriously not being able to show up. Because that happens too. And maybe you had to go through this boy who cried wolf kind of thing where you used to not show up and it used to not be for a good reason, and then a really legitimate reason happened, but then the person or the place just didn't buy it or didn't believe it or just stopped giving you the benefit of the doubt, and that sucks. I'm sorry. Sometimes, though, when we don't hear it in the whisper, we are forced to hear it in the shout, and it's always a cruel experience. So I'm sorry if you've gone through that. You deserve a hand. Again, unless you're the one who threw someone out of the lifeboat. In that case, I don't want to help you. I can say that. I can say whatever I want. I'm in my apartment in front of my own camera, and you chose to press play. And those of you who will choose to press stop now, that's okay too. Sending you with love and farewell. Just don't throw anyone else off the lifeboat, okay? But you don't understand it was either me or them. No. There's always a third path, Gemini. That's what I'm trying to tell you. There's always a third way. It's not your fault. You're built that way and seeing the two dual options always. The yin, the yang, the black and white. In between, there is the infinite spectrum that creates the polarities. It's not necessarily the polarities that create the balanced spectrum in the rainbow, as much as it's the existence of the rainbow that inevitably has to have beginning and an end, or at least in our mind, that's how it is. Anyway, I'm trying to say is that there is a third path always. You just have to acknowledge there's a third path. Okay, so now your system is wired to looking for the third path of integration, of best of both worlds. How can we both be saved? How can we both be on the lifeboat? And are you thinking about Titanic? Rose and Jack. Rose did have more room on that board. She should have had Leo DiCaprio, be saved with her on that. I also thought, I was also like, why is she not letting him on the boat? Like, what? I get it. See? That's what I mean. That ending of Titanic, that's your message. Okay? There's always a way to save both. You don't have to throw someone under the bus. And the best way to learn that, unfortunately, is when someone ends up doing that to you and you realize what it is. That's for those of you who have been doing that. Okay. And I know many of you have not. For those of you who have, could apply. Look, seekers, Gemini is a complicated sign. So the message is when I want to go deep and meaningful, which I always do, it's complicated and I can't always make you happy. But are you here to be happy or are you here to be fulfilled and then possibly happy based in fulfillment, which will make your happiness true? Are you secretly a Sagittarius? So much philosophy. Well, every Gemini has a Sag inside of them that they can learn from and be inspired from. Okay, show me more, please, for September. We have Eight of Pentacles, Ten of Swords. We have the square of Gemini and Virgo coming through right here at this moment with the new moon. I'm recording this on the new moon that is an exact square 4 degrees. when the new moon occurred a few hours ago, it was an exact square, 4 degrees, yeah, to Mars in Gemini. And the sun was there too, inevitably, because it's a new moon. And yes, it was an event of an hour, but because it's a new moon, it symbolizes the next 6 months, which makes me feel like this message is very important. So save this video, come back to it, refresh on it. I feel like it can help you or be of service to you. This is challenging, yet this is the point in which you make a breakthrough out of duality and into oneness. 6 of Cups. Oh, the children. Has there been some sort of a disaster, Jenny? Something really, really difficult? A loss? Are there any orphans in this story? Or maybe it's you as you recover, creates this nostalgia, brings you back to your childhood, forces you to think about certain things. I see a parent that endured exceptional hardship in order to give their child or children a better life. So maybe you're a refugee, an immigrant, but it looks like if that's your case, your children will have a better life. Maybe they already do. So I hope that serves as comfort to anyone out there that this applies to. Four of Swords. Someone is injured or unable or something happened. I hope it's not physical. If it is, there is a recovery process because we went from the Ten of Swords, the event, to Four of Swords. So I feel like there's a process of rest and recovery. It takes time. It drives you nuts because you're so active and brilliant and your mind is constantly everywhere. And it leaves you to your, if that's the case, whatever this is, leaves you to your mind. You can't run away from it. You can't numb it down. And it's challenging. It's so challenging that it becomes meditative, well, sorry, meditative. Two of Swords. It's okay. We got this. Stick around. We'll get through this. Caught between a rock and a hard place. Catch 22. Focus will get you through this. However, if you insist to hold on to the intellectual superiority, this lesson will continue. Because it is, in the bottom line, a lesson about intellectual superiority and what you can do based on it, with using it as validity sometimes, you know. And yes, I know all the good things about you, but this reading isn't guiding me, unfortunately. Wish it had. It would be way more fun for both of us, but it's not guiding me to speak these things. It's guiding me to speak these things. Because you don't need someone enabling you right now. You need someone to do the opposite of enabling. And people who are very close to you won't do that because they know how it will affect you. You will shut down. You don't like to hear these things when people are close to you, because it's important to you to be recognized as someone who knows, you know? And it can literally ruin relationships. So people around you don't do that because they know how you'd respond. But I can do that. I don't want to lose you as a subscriber or um, as a seeker of the shift, but you know, I would not be the existential shift if I'll come out of that, if I'll operate from that mindset, you know. Currently, you're holding to your guns. You're with this energy. I'm surprised you're still watching the Chariot. This is good. This is the Cancer archetype, which comes right after you, Gemini, then Cancer, right? And it forces you, it pulls you, cardinal water, out of any mental obsession or um, loop, and it utilizes your emotional space. And the thing about it, when that happens, it happens with emotions that maybe you have suppressed or shut down, that needed some extreme occurrences to bring them up to the surface and help flood the the mental buzzing. So mid-month ish, I see this energy just like a wave pulling you. But you're not supposed to succumb to the waves. You're supposed to be inspired by the waves to lead yourself like a wave does in the ocean. To be reminded by it that you can't be stagnant. Mutable air that is stagnant, very dangerous thing. It becomes flammable. So even though seemingly water suffocates mutable air, it also forces it out of its own immobility that can then become way more dangerous, like a blow up, you know? So better to be overwhelmed by emotions and pulled into action and change and evolution and healing than to remain in that little bottle and then become flammable like a splitting atom and then brain melt. great news is the chariot also symbolizes victory, overcoming oneself, not being duality, rather guiding duality. Gemini, that's what you're supposed to do. Most Geminis fall to being duality. Here or that. This twin or that twin. Today I'm this, tomorrow I'm this, and I'm so special because I'm changing. That's your shadow. Even if you're the nicest person in the world, you're in your shadow. And I don't mean the wise shadow. I mean the BS shadow. It's when you decide to recognize it, to take yourself outside of that, observe it, understand these aspects of you, and then pull them, utilize them, and make them work together and pull them in that third path that we've been talking about. That is the chariot. Taking the life that is pulling you in different directions and leading yourself to victory. Good. We are really progressing. Ace of Pentacles and Justice. Love seeing this. Love seeing this. Mercury in Libra is benefiting you, trining you, maybe helping your finances somehow. Uh, Remember that I said that the way to 9 and 10 of Pentacles is through the 8 of Pentacles. So we start with the 8 of Pentacles and now we have Tower and then 10 of Pentacles. Okay. Ace of Pentacles, the Tower, 10 of Pentacles, and Justice. Not gonna lie. Those of you that this applies to, I see divorce. I see a sacrifice that needs to be made. Something that needs to be destroyed in order for you to rebuild. You have an opportunity to do so, and you're taking it in Libra season, so mid-September and on. Um, I see something that has been established, that has been built upon rotten foundation being demolished. This could be a mindset, this could be a relationship, this could be a set of ideas. Um, think the Pisa Tower that grew up crooked, that was built crooked because the foundation was started crooked. So in this case, it's not going to remain the Pisa Tower, it's just going to collapse. But the good news is it's going to expose a seed that was buried underneath and couldn't grow. But now that this falls down, the seed, this Ace of Pentacles will be able to turn into a 10 of Pentacles. It's like you had this potential in your life, energetic potential, financial potential, relationship potential, whatnot potential. And you knew it. You knew that there should be way more than this for you. Why is this stuck? Why is this not growing? Why is this not evolving? Well, everything I said, watch this video again, thanks. But then as soon as this illusion, I'm picking up corruption. Someone else's corruption or your corruption, depending on who threw who out from the lifeboat. But it's almost like a story of an immigrant or a refugee that is being thrown out of the boat to the stormy sea, and then the waves take them to the shore of a prosperous town where they are being treated and healed and restful, and then they find that they are in their destined place, and after their entire world perception has collapsed, and where they thought they were heading to turn out to be a failure or just didn't happen or didn't work out, whatever, they find themselves where they can actually build an empire. And it's interesting how we started with square energy of mutables, and we moved into square energy of cardinals, right? Cancer and Libra. And we managed to conclude-ish with the Ten of Pentacles. And the reason I say ish is because we're not done. This is a long reading. Okay. But I want to do the Existential Shift spread for you. I used to do it for the extendeds, but now I'm not doing the extendeds because I'm replacing all the the monthly extendeds on Patreon. I'm replacing them with unlimited streaming of my Tarot Masterclass. So instead, I feel like this is great because it makes room for me to give you more here on YouTube. And now you'll get to experience what I used to do on the extendeds. So here for free. Okay. Huh. Interesting. So let's start with the major arcana. We have Chariot, Justice, Tower. Okay. Am I imagining? Oh, yeah. 2 tens. We do have 2 tens. 2 repeating. Ace, 2, 4, 6, 8. No, 9. Sorry. Ace, 2, 4, 6, 9. Okay. So this is not as meaningful. I'm just leaving it here to have it, in case I want to utilize it or bring something up. But this is the main aspect of this next level of the reading. The Chariot, Justice, and the Tower is the major arcana, and 2 minor arcana repeating themselves, 2 tens. This is very dramatic, very final. Don't look back, can't look back, burned bridge, however you can phrase it. Ending. That is, it's determined. There's no avoiding it. This needs to end, this needs to happen, this thing needs to collapse so this can happen. Your true destiny, your true direction, your true person, your true career, yada yada. It's based on truth and justice, objective one, that takes no BS. It doesn't listen to your affirmations or manifestations, or if your affirmations and manifestations are not in alignment with the truth, with how you truly behave or with your core essence, of course there will be conflict and mayhem and chaos, because these are 2 completely different frequencies and vibrations that you're forcing to exist in the same person and within you, or in the same reality, or in the same room, right? If your essence, if your behavior and your essence and your frequency and how you operate in your subconscious and in your triggers is X, but your affirmations and words and prayers and spells and whatever are the complete opposite of X. So this part of you, which is very powerful, manifest this other aspects of you, the more mental, not awareness like in a good way, but like mental, manifest this, and they're completely in complete dissonance. It's bound to explode. You're bound to experience this extreme agony within you, or God forbid, even manifest a disaster. I hope nothing physical happened. But if nothing physical happened yet, may not happen. But if nothing happened yet, and you relate to this reading, and you know it's your truth, I need you to immediately go quiet within yourself so you don't manifest this. Hear it in the words. Don't be forced to hear it in the shout. Stop with the dissonance. Stop with all the mantras and affirmations and whatever when you know your essence thinks the complete opposite. Just stop, be quiet, and listen inside to who you are, what you truly think, what you truly feel. And then go into that fully. Be pulled by it. Get to know yourself. Good or bad, doesn't matter. There's no judgment in that personal space of yours. Practice radical self-love, which means really looking into the truth of you, whatever that is. And if you do it with judgment or with ego, then you won't truly be able to see yourself. And so you won't be able to get through this or, you know, evade this disaster. So do it with radical self-love. Meet yourself. And then when the dissonance quiets down because your subconscious is being brought up to the conscious and isn't suppressed by the conscious, and there isn't constant fight between the two. Watch my 13th element video on my 13th element playlist. I'm going to put it at the end here, somewhere here on the screen. How to integration, transmutation, alchemy of the spirit, something like that. And for those of you who want to go further, watch the True Secrets of Manifestations, my first 13th element video that I've done. Okay. Now, back to this. Bottom line, where this has already happened or not, on the other side of it, there's this, which is glorious. It's not nothing less than glorious. The Chariot, the Ten of Pentacles, and the Justice. If you're going through a very painful divorce, there's another chapter for you with someone that you will stay with until old age, and you'll be very, very happy together, and you'll have generations to come. This is beautiful. Okay. If you are ending a career path that you were super into for a very long time, whatever, the next phase is really amazing, and you'll be able to be prosperous and successful. You'll have the status, you'll have the money, you'll have the respect, all of it. There will be alignment. Don't worry. This has got to end, especially with the 2 10s here. Like some cycle needs to end, so this could be manifested. But you can't be in denial. You gotta practice radical self-love and radical awareness. And when I say radical self-love, it's not enabling, and love is not the same thing. Telling yourself you're perfect is not self-love. Telling yourself I'm a piece of shit and this and this and that, even though I'm a freaking amazing and this and this and that, I can be both amazing and shitty in different fields of my life. We all are. Okay, this is not just you. Everyone has some shitty issues, whatever. But you gotta face them and be like, okay, I'm just giving an example. It doesn't have to be the case. It can be anything. And I'm going by the stereotype, but I'm also going by the theme of this reading. But if, for example, you can say, okay, this is not about changing circumstances and that makes it valid for me to break promises, or this is not about people not getting it or being not as smart as I am. This is me being lazy and looking for excuses to not show up without taking accountability and putting it on others. Now I need to face it. I'm not angry with myself. I don't hate myself. I'm not going to shame myself. I'm not going to punish myself. That's the loving part, right? Where you hug yourself through this realization. When you speak to yourself with kindness and respect, but then you work your way through it. Now, that could be one example. It could be whatever it is that it applies to you. If you're not a Gemini seeker, if you're any other sign, we all have Geminis in our chart. Seek where it applies to you. And it's also 2 7s. 1 1, because it's 11. 16 is 7, so 1 1 7 7. It's been a repetition. Truth. Spiritual truth. Truth of the soul. Where is your soul headed towards? And what in the material world it needs to crash and burn in order for it to be free to do so? I love you from the bottom of my heart. I'll see you soon. Everything is here.